Hello everyone, it is Jazz here. Today I am talking about some authors that I would like to read more of. So I picked 8 authors to talk about today that are authors where I've only read 1 or 2 of their books, and I just need to read more of them because I'm sure subsequent books that they've written are flippin' awesome too, and I just need to get on the ball and read some more of their books because the books that I've read of theirs were just so good. Let's go on with the show and talk about all these 8 people. One author that I would like to check out more of is Janet Fitch. She is the author of the book White Oleander. I flippin' loved White Oleander. Like, it is the most beautiful book. It like breaks your heart, and the writing style is the thing that I remember the most about it. Like, it just had the most lovely poetic writing style. So I definitely would love to check out more of her books. Top of my list, I think, to check out of her work would probably be Kicks, which sounds like a really interesting contemporary kind of novel, and also The Revolution of Marina M., which is a historical fiction novel. That just sounds super, super cool. An author who I have read 2 books by and really would like to read more of is Joe Hill. I have read his short story collection, 20th Century Ghosts, and I have also read his book, Heart-Shaped Box. And both of these were really amazing and excellent. So I definitely would like to read more than just these 2 books, especially something that's one of his full-length novels, not just a short story collection. Top of my list is probably to read his book Horns, because they made it into a movie and I still have not read the book, so I feel like I don't want to watch the movie till I've read the book. He's also written a graphic novel called Lock and Key, so I'd like to try a few volumes of that because graphic novels are the bomb, am I right? Next author is Nick Hornby. I read his book A Long Way Down, which I loved, and I also loved the movie. The whole reason I read the book was because I really loved the movie. So I loved both things, even though they were a little bit different from each other, as movies and books are. I just thought A Long Way Down was so flippin' hilarious, and I have a feeling that this is just part of his writing style, and he also seems to write really quirky characters. A lot of his books have actually been made into a movie. I can't say that I've seen all the movies or read all the books, but I would really love to read his book about a boy, first of all, because I freaking love that movie so much, and I just want to see how it compares to the book. I'm sure it's a little different, but I still want to check it out just because I think it's a fun, interesting kind of story, even if it is a little different. And also, I think I would like to check out his book, Funny Girl, because that sounds kind of quirky and interesting, and I think it's one of the few books of his that hasn't been made into a movie. But also, he, I think, has written some nonfiction works. So maybe I might want to check those out too. And some of his books I just need to read so that I can read them before I watch the movie because, like I said, so many movies based on his books. Then we come to a sort of classic literature author, or a modern classic literature author, if you will, and that is Virginia Woolf. Now, I have read her book To the Lighthouse. So first of all, I would just like to reread To the Lighthouse because I did read it as a teenager and I really loved it as a teenager, but I think I would love it even more as an adult because I think there's probably some ideas or concepts I would get more out of, and also I have probably forgotten quite a bit of the book even though I remember that I really liked it. However, I do want to read more things by her, just anything, but most of all I want to read Mrs. Dalloway, which is her most popular classic, and I still have not read it. I need to make this happen. I don't care if it's an audiobook or what. Mrs. Dalloway needs to happen for sure. And then I might try some of her other books. I don't know which one yet, but Mrs. Dalloway is like of all importance. Now let's talk about Mercedes Lackey. I have read 1 book by her. It is The Black Swan, which is a retelling of Swan Lake. I found it really interesting. It was a little slow to get into, but once I got into it, it was pretty fun and awesome and interesting. So thus, I want to read more of her books. It kind of bothers me that I have not read more of this woman's books because I own some of her books in physical copies. I just got Firebird because it is part of the same kind of duology as the Black Swan. You can read them individually. They're not part of the same story, but they are both retellings of stories that became ballets, I guess. So I got this because I was like, oh, need to read that to go along with the other one. And I have had her book, The Serpent Shadow, on my shelf for I don't know how many years. Like, it's ridiculous. I'm assuming since the book came out. And I think this is like the first or second book in a series. And now there are like 11 books in that series, and they're all like fairy tale retellings. And I was like, I need to get on this, y'all. So Mercedes Lackey needs to happen, because also I have looked into some of her fantasy book series and they look flippin' awesome too. So I need to make this happen. Next I have Ted Dekker. Ted Dekker was an author that was recommended to me because he writes thrillers from a Christian perspective. But from what I've read, like, anybody can read them. Like, a thriller is a thriller and is a thriller. You know what I mean? So I have read his book that he wrote on his own, The Bride Collector. And I have also read the book that he wrote with the author Frank Peretti called House. Now, I loved House quite a bit. It was really exciting and really, really cool, and ghost story is she, but not really. I can't really explain it. You gotta read the book. And I liked The Bride Collector quite a bit. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I thought it's enough to like make me want to read more of his books, because I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a really quality thriller book, and it was still kind of fun and awesome. And I figure I might as well read more of his books that he's written on his own, because I own a bind up of 2 of them. I have 3 and obsessed. Had them forever. I feel like I need to get these read. They do sound really like thrillerific and super exciting. Like, I feel like I won't be able to put them down once I read them, but I just need to get reading them. Then I have Mary Higgins Clark. I flippin' loved her book, Daddy's Little Girl. It was so cool and interesting and had a very interesting spin than some other kind of thriller type novels. And when I finished it, I went, I need to read more of this woman's books. Now, I don't really have a specific book of hers that I would like to read, because Mary Higgins Clark has written a freaking ton of books, and I just don't even know where to start. Like, what one should I read? I'm sure some are better than the others, and I don't know which one is best, and I don't want to be disappointed. So if you have read a Mary Higgins Clark book that you thought was awesome, please recommend me one, because I want to read more of this woman's book, but I'm afraid that I won't love them as much as I love this book. So it's a quandary. The last author that I have on this list is the one that I probably want to read more of the most, and it is Tad Williams. This book is sad looking. Anyway, so I read one book by him, which is War of the Flowers, and this thing is the flippin' bomb, and I loved it, and I've been talking about it on this channel ever since I read it. And I am working on reading more of his books, because I am currently reading his book Otherland, City of Golden Shadow, which is the first in a series. And I think I'm definitely going to continue the series, even though I'm only like 176 pages in. I know that this series is going to be flippin' awesome. You can just tell after 100 pages. Yes, you can with this author. So I can tell that his worlds are epic and wonderfully built, and the characters are super good. And so I need to read more of his books so that I can recommend this author more. But I haven't read enough of his books to do that yet. The only thing that's probably gonna get in my way is that, as you can see, his books are flippin' big. And yes, all of them are this big. I have not ever seen a Tad Williams book that is smaller than like 600 pages. It's just not, it's not happening. I need to read more of his books, and I don't really care if they're over 800 pages, because it just needs to happen. Those are 8 authors that I would love to read more of, and leave me some authors in the comments that you would love to read more of, because I might want to read more of them too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys on Thursday. Thank you for watching. Bye!